What about a cell in your digestive system? What about a cell in your reproductive system? A cell of your muscular system. That's all. Yeah. This is one of those things I find amazing about the human body. Not only do we, as the organism, represent every one of these characteristics, so does every cell of our body. There are two cells of the body that once they reach a certain point, no longer reproduce, but they still are alive. Do you know what those two cells might be? A nerve cell, once it reaches a certain stage, like your brain cells, Can you think of what another cell of the body? A lot of people might know, like the brain cell, for example, but they don't know this other one that doesn't reproduce once it's to a certain point of development. Muscle cells. Muscle cells can get bigger, smaller, lengthen, okay? They don't duplicate. Once you get to a certain point of development, what you get is what you got. Which is kind of cool. Kind of makes you wonder, how is it then that people who are like bodybuilders, these great big huge muscles, how'd they get that way? They're working out.
Don't they tear the muscles and then the muscles
Yes. And what they're working on, we're going to learn, is called the contractile unit. It's what makes the muscle move, okay? And that is made up of proteins. And so,
is that why they make protein shakes?
yes, people who, and depending upon what type of activity they might be doing, like if they're trying to be the ones that are, you know, the weightlifters, or say for, now think about, anybody in here run? Okay, I don't either. All right, I'm serious. If I'm running, y'all need to come on with me, okay? People who run, they don't have big muscles. They got very defined muscles. But they also take in a lot of protein. Protein we're going to find. Now, and let's think back to our general bio. Proteins. Does anybody happen to remember what the building block of a protein is?
Amino acids.
Amino acids. Okay? For proteins, are they important to the body? Why? At any point in time, you're over 50% proteins. Proteins carry out all the activities of the body. We're good. That's okay. That's okay. We're going to get back to that. So proteins are what's building up. Once they stop the activity, like say a person who maybe was doing the weightlifting, and they get older and they're like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. Okay. and you'll see their muscles begin to shrink. And it's because those proteins are no longer needed and they'll break down. The person who's a runner, they may get a little, more fat on their muscles and that sort of thing. And so I'm just amazed that not only does our body as a whole do these characteristics, but the cell does also. How do we know that this is happening? We do through research, we do it through the pathology, we do it through study. Huge area, of course, medical research. Medical research. How long has this been occurring in human history? Forever. Okay? For as long as humans have been here. And yes, if we think along that geological time scale, early man, there's been an interest in learning something. Okay? As the brain has developed, we've had the interest in learning how the human body works. All right? We have many ways that we can do this. Okay? We can work at a cell level, like in a lab. Okay? A lot of times, bacteria are involved because they have an easy genetic makeup that we can work with. But a lot of stuff for humans, oh my goodness. I think that people who become surgeons, they have really got to enjoy cutting something open. I mean, think about that for a second. Think about it, say, for abdominal surgery, okay? And it used to be, because how did early surgeries work? Any ideas? Wasn't pretty. They just did it. And think about how they just did it before we even had anesthesia. Okay? My husband just had some hernia surgery. It's a little going in under the belly button, fixing the hernia, that sort of thing. Used to be very barbaric, to say the least. Even though that was the case, we learned a lot of information. We learned a lot about what happens with digestion because back in the Civil War, this man who got, do y'all know like muskets and the little, they look like little cannonballs that were used in the guns, does everybody know? And so if you got shot with one of those, it literally left a hole, okay? Like if it hit a bone, the reason people have to have an arm cut off is because it would shatter all the way through, okay? Back in those days, that was their only option, was like cut the limb off. Well, there was a man that got shot and survived, that's what's amazing, and it put a hole right through his abdomen into his stomach. They never could get the hole to close up. So really, the man was just kind of like this, for the rest of his life. Doctors took advantage of that. I guess the doctors back then. We learned a lot about digestion because they would literally take, for example, on a string, a piece of meat and drop it through the hole and watch what the gastric juices of the stomach did. That is so cool. Not right, okay, but on a huge level, that's like, yeah, okay. So it used to be until probably about the mid-1900s. Any type of information that we learned was due to surgical procedures. Granted, they were not as streamlined as what you see today with surgery. Definitely people who had mental issues. The study that was done there and stuff like that, things were not ethical. Okay, we know that. All right, it's different now. If you choose to be a part of something, or say, for example, you got to go have some surgery, and that doctor is a teaching doctor, and there's students coming, you can sign all sorts of papers now, saying that can be done. So, even though we've come a long way, we learned a lot, okay? We still do. However, there are many other ways. X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, all this sort of stuff. Anybody ever had to have any type of X-rays, imaging? Okay, what did you have?
I had bronchitis that turned into asthma. And so they did a chest X-ray of my chest, and I've had multiple concussions, so I've had multiple MRIs of my head.
And what kind did you have?
It was just asthma.
Like the chest X-ray? Okay, not like a CT scan or anything? And how about you? Chest X-ray? Okay. Did you ever ask to see them?
Mm-hmm.
Or look at them or anything like that? Anytime I can have anything done, radiation-wise, the nuclear, the MRI, the CT, whatever, I want to see that because it's so amazing, okay? It is so and now with so many things that you have available, like the YouTube and Googling and everything, you can pretty much look at everything. On our McGraw-Hill site, you have a link to something called A&P Revealed, and you can actually look at slides. You can look at cross sections. Okay, there's a lot of things that you can find now just on the internet. When we talk about all of these systems, all these cells, everything working together, it does it for one reason. The body wants to maintain homeostasis. Now, I'm going to show my age here, okay? Because if any of y'all know this, I'm not going to feel so old. There was a movie called Biodome. And every time I say homeostasis, I can't help but think about in that movie, the little thing going, homeostasis is at 35%. Homeostasis. What is it?
Like your stable internal, your stable internal environment.
Your internal environment. Homeostasis, maintaining the internal environment. The example that's being given, body temperature. They, now note, when I say they, that means a group of people who have determined this is the norm, okay? They tell us normal body temperature, 98.6. That doesn't mean your body stays at 98.6 all the time. It goes up, it goes down. We move, we don't move, all right? But the goal is for the body to keep that